Hi my friends, how are you? Today's video is very special. I'm going to share with you the footage from my writing location scouting trip at San Francisco, as well as my film festival trip, reunion trip at the Cinequest in San Jose. And then it was a very inspiring journey, no matter for writing for my screenplay or it's for filmmaking. Being as an artisan filmmaker, there was a lot of very inspiring thoughts came through my mind during these 3 days, so I thought I'm going to share with you here. Hopefully that can give you some idea and spark something in you. If I sound a little bit low today, that's because recently for some reason I've been having really bad headache and I'm having it right now. I've been drinking a lot of water, so don't worry. I've been trying my best to taking care of myself as well as taking care of my mind. Now I'm back and let's go on the trip with me, shall we? So I never been to San Francisco. I spent most of my time in Los Angeles. San Francisco, Seattle, New York is always some place that I always want to go badly, feel very intrigued, curious about what it's like to be there. A couple years ago when I started writing this screenplay, the setting was automatically at the San Francisco, despite the fact I've never been there. So since Cinequest started, I plan to go there to support my fellow filmmaker friends' film. And San Jose is so close to San Francisco, so I decided to check out San Francisco to see the people and culture environment there. That completely changed my mind about the city, and as well as made me feel very glad that my story was setting at San Francisco. So this time I travel and we have a road trip together with Jenna. Jenna is Paris International Film Festival's director, and she also made a beautiful French comedy romance film about a female actress pursuing her dream. Her film is screening at the Cinequest as well. We decide to drive from Los Angeles together. Jenna usually spend a half year at Los Angeles and a half year in Paris, so she just happened to be in LA right now. The first day of the trip in the morning, I picked up Jenna in Hollywood and we drove towards San Jose. As soon as we drive out Los Angeles Valley, it was a long period of driving on the farm field that's very dry and yellow and flat. So for almost 3 hours of driving, there was nothing going on until the weather become cooler. The mountains reappear and you start seeing here and there that some very nice green field with water and then trees, almost like a place that's not as drought as LA was. And then soon we arrived San Jose. I feel so weird arrive this place because I'm at the Silicon Valley. It's a place that you read about since you were a kid. And also you see the logo of Cinequest Film Festival, which is the film festival that gave me the first chance and discovered my film, screened my film, where it leads to my film distribution. All of that made me feel there's something about it that I feel very close to this city. I dropped off Jenna at her Airbnb and I had a lunch right next to a place where California Theater was, and directly head over to San Francisco. I was not planning on staying in San Jose for the night because I really want to have enough time to spend in San Francisco to check out several locations that I'm interested in using in my story. After I left San Jose, soon you start feeling that the atmosphere filled with green and yellowish glow. It's a place that the humidity in the air, the greenish, the sun hitting on the tree give you that yellow glow, make you feel somehow very sentimental, so I got very excited to keep recording on the road. One of the things I'm very interested in is San Francisco's colorful houses on the hill. As soon as I saw those houses, my mind just flooded with the story that I wrote, and I imagining those characters and their life experience in those houses. It's just so many possibilities when you're looking at them. It triggered my brain to constantly thinking about the story over and over. And to be honest, I didn't do my research well. I wasn't expecting the foggy weather here, and apparently very iconic thing about San Francisco is the fog. It's the fog come over from the ocean cast into the city. I don't know, there's always something about moist, about rain, about water that make you so inspired. At least that's for me. Another thing I wasn't expecting is the big windows of these houses. I always very interested in windows. When I was a kid, at the night time, I like to go on street looking into other people's windows. Not necessarily I can see through the window what's going on in there, but sometimes you see through the window, you saw the yellow lights and the environment of the house, and then you can smell life. You can smell the experience of people have in there. For some reason, just see stories playing through the window even though there was nobody there. So I always love big window house, and almost 80% of house in San Francisco has those big windows. After we settle in the hotel, we heading towards the Golden Gate Bridge. It was just something I didn't want to miss. I wrote a very quick scene at the Golden Gate Bridge, basically just a car driving by. But now, because of visiting the Golden Gate Bridge, it became something symbolic for me now. I find there's something very connected to the theme of the story that I'm writing. I can't describe the excitement when I see the Golden Gate Bridge for the first time. This red bridge is such an emotional place. It connected the two sides of the bridge, but also it gives me the feeling of my leading character's longing of her life. Especially I was smelling the fog and I experienced those cold ocean wind blowing through my hair. There's something just feels so sentimental about it. We went up a hill, went above the bridge, and look at the bridge through the fog. My mind filled the story I'm writing now, and the emotion that my character was experiencing filled within me. It's a very weird feeling. I feel excitement, but a bit of lost. At the same time, there's a clarity. It's the feeling of not belongs to anywhere, but at the same time, I was one with the world. And that's exactly what was my story about. And now there was an image in my head of my leading character standing here, looking at the bridge in the fog on this hill. I felt it all, and I feel my character felt it all. So I decided right there I'm going to put this in my story, this feeling, this imagery that's in my mind. I'm going to write into the script, and it will be a very important part of the story now. But also, even it's so emotional and almost a little bit sad, when you look further, there's a little sunlight going through the fog, hitting on the bridge, and it made this scene suddenly feel a bit of uplifting. It's more than belonging. It's the feeling of I'm sad, but I'm okay. I suddenly had a clear aha moment of knowing where my story is going to end. All I felt right there was I want to move to San Francisco. After the very emotional experience, I feel very fulfilled, inspired, energetic somehow, even after a long day of traveling. And then we went to a local Indian restaurant, had a very cozy, nice meal, that was probably the best Indian food I've ever had. Next morning at the local roasting coffee shop, I went to grab some coffee and started writing down things I thought about for the story since I arrived San Francisco. And it was such a nice feeling. I can't wait for the day that I can do this full time without worrying anything else. Or can I just start doing that now without worrying anything else? Sometimes it takes a lot of courage to pursue what you really want to do. The ocean of San Francisco feels so different. At least that's what I felt that day. A very poetic way to put it is it's the kind of ocean that releases your sorrow, almost like it cries with you. After standing next to the ocean for a while and then leave the beach, it feels like I just had a very good cry, released all the emotions within me, and I feel peaceful. So the second day we went to check out the most liberal area of the hippie culture in San Francisco. To be honest, I saw a lot of stuff that's very similar to my hometown. I grew up from a town that's a little tourist town, very popular for travelers and hippies, and then they always staying there making their handcraft, doing arts. They make their own dresses and then they dress up differently. A lot of people, they never worry about money, but they pursuing freedom. When I arrived that area in San Francisco, I felt something familiar. And what interesting is the story I'm writing has two settings. One is my hometown, one is San Francisco. I was so pleased to find the connection between these two places, and I was in awe that wonder what was the reason I made the decision to set the half of the story in San Francisco. There's no other place better than San Francisco to represent the story and build the story connected with my hometown. No matter it's style-wise or theme-wise, it's just a perfect fit. In almost like 2 years ago, even I never came to San Francisco, the universe is already pre-decided for me, made me wrote down San Francisco on my page for some reason. Anyway, I'm sharing this because sometimes I feel when we are working on our story, we always have a lot of decisions need to make. We worry, we don't know if it's good enough, we don't know if the story will work, we don't really sure if people like it, if this makes sense, if that makes sense. And maybe, just maybe, we are just the instrument of the universe, the nature, a part of something that's much bigger than us. And somehow the nature decide to write the piece through us. It's not up to us to decide how we want the story to be. It's up to the nature. It's about whether or not we want to open our mind and heart and then be present and relaxed enough to let the story come through. It's part of the nature. There is a reason for it to be made, I think. And then we went to Painted Lady, of course. There was a lot of young people there. There was so many people. I thought there was some event going on, but no. It was just groups of young people hanging out with friends on the grass, playing guitar, drawing, and then journaling or chatting with friends. I tried my best to taking a lot of pictures and recording clips after clips to catch every single detail so I don't forget anything. At that point, I was pretty much really want to come back to San Francisco again soon. I have to go check out Chinatown, of course, because I have the story setting at the Chinatown. I had a somehow feeling that San Francisco's Chinatown is very different than the one that's in Los Angeles. I have to say the San Francisco Chinatown is so authentic that made me feel I was transported to my memory to a farmer's market in China. It looks like the old town of Shanghai, but also reminds me Hong Kong. And of course, I have to stop by a dim sum place to get some dim sum. And I also get to overhear some conversation of the local students there who travel at Chinatown with friends. I don't want to be rude, so I didn't film them, but it was quite interesting to observe them because my character is roughly the same age, and then seeing their interaction make me think about certain things in my story that I can change it to something completely different. After that, I decided to look for the steepest hill in San Francisco area that I can find. Driving around, we stumbled to this house, this green house, which was one of the iconic locations where the TV show, Netflix show OA was filmed. And also, can I just say that again? The thing I love about San Francisco is seeing the fog cast over the hill from the ocean. It's almost feel like a wave washing over the city. And San Francisco also have so many different kind of independent bookstore. I really feel like this is almost my dream city to live in, and sadly I'm not living here, and I want to basically move there so badly and wish the film industry was there. And maybe one day I will spend a longer period of time there. And this trip made me fall in love with San Francisco. This very short trip already inspired me so much. I feel a lot of time when we feel writer's block or feel stuck on our story, maybe all we need to do is just go out, walking around, travel a little bit, talk to a stranger to see different things, and I'm sure that will inspire you a lot more. Next day, we drove back to San Jose and went to Cinequest to our filmmaker reunion. So we watched the Shakespeare Sisters' second feature film screening in the theater, and I wish I had an in-person experience last year so I could play my film there in this historical, beautiful California theater. And I was so glad that I came so I can see these many faces that I met virtually last year. We basically formed a bond last year virtually because we chat for hours every single day with this group of people, and now we get so excited when we recognize each other in person as if we were already like very old friends and we knew each other very well. Being with this group of filmmakers at the Cinequest made me feel very belong, and I'm on the right path. We spent a day watch films and then chatting and drinking. Of course I don't drink, but basically hang out with them in the bar. I constantly learn new things from their filmmaking experience through chatting with them, and we share the same doubts and fears. And I think that's why we form a bond and feel we know each other very well, because we went through similar emotions and struggles together. Because of them, the road in front of me has become much clearer and less fearful, at least in that moment. And the next morning we decided to get breakfast together and then take a picture before we say goodbye again. I already miss them. I can't wait for our next reunion again. I think this is one of the biggest thing I gained from attending film festival with my film is the friendship I formed. These are the people that I want to be with, and I feel my heart wants to be with because we have the same kind of pursuit. And I'm very glad that I'm building this little YouTube community, because if we can't meet in person, at least we are here together pursuing similar goals and similar dreams, and we get to be here, share with each other about our struggles, about our fears and doubts, so we don't feel that alone. I hope you feel that way too. this is basically my trip to San Jose and San Francisco. I don't know if that will make sense to you since you don't know anything about the story that I'm working on yet, but I hope any of the things I'm sharing here is a tiny bit inspiring for you. And then if you take away just one thing from this video, I hope when you feel down, when you feel low, when you feel stuck or writer's block or hitting on a wall, maybe just go travel to a nearby city to see something different. I hope that can make you feel a little bit different or inspire you to get back to something that really matters to you. And thank you so much for watching this week's video, and I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you for being here with me. Okay, be patient, be present, stay creative. I'll see you next week. Bye. Pew.